Well, I term it as a new consciousness. There is a specific reason for which the word has been chosen. To understand what is new consciousness, we need to know what is consciousness and how consciousness operates. The word consciousness is also synonymous to the awareness. When we talk about the awareness, we talk about the awareness from the perspective of a person. How much he is aware about? What is he aware about? We understand the role of a human being as a part of the whole. What is that the humans do? Primarily, humans only process the information. What information? And how do they process? So the information comes to them in the 5 channels through which it reaches the brain. These are the 5 senses. Now, as 5 senses process the information, do we say that that is the only information which is available, or is it the only information there? No. The information is much larger. In a way, we process only 140 bits of information per second. However, the information that comes to us is around 2000 bits per second. So there is unconscious processing of this information which is already been happening. We are not aware about it. What do we do with this process? When the information comes, how do we process this information? The information we process, and what do we do about it? We act. I am talking to you. I am making the hand movements. If there is a fire, I will walk and I will run from here. For that, I require the motor function. So basically, a sensory input and a motor function output, that's the role of a human being. And we perceive the information as it comes to us. So this is the role of a humanity or a human being. And each one has its own perspective about operations. How do they perceive? How do they see they see the reality? What is their awareness? Depending on then that they process. So there is a internal information, and the information is operated through the body in the terms of the action. In the meanwhile, we experience things. Do we experience? We experience. What happens to the experiences that we have? So one of the roles of the soul is to experience various realities and send that process information. We can use it in terms of the uploading. So we upload that information. Now that uploaded information is available to us at any given point of time, we access to that. There is a methodology of accessing that by increasing the consciousness and awareness. Expanding the consciousness, expanding the awareness. Presumably, what is consciousness? For example, this room that we are sitting in is the total consciousness. The consciousness has its own intelligence, and the consciousness operates through that intelligence all the time, which is much beyond the comprehension of our human brain and human mind. So if we are aware about everything that is happening in this room, every particles, every light, every sound, everything on an energy level that has been going on. We have moved into the total consciousness of this room. Now I'm just talking about this room in the space and time. Imagine the entire universe and having the consciousness expanded to that level. And that's the movement of the consciousness which is happening, and being aware about every bit of things that is happening in this universe is an expanded consciousness. And we have the potential, we have the possibility, and we have the probability to expand our consciousness to that point. And there are evidences that the people have expanded their consciousness to that level. Now, the point comes. What is the new consciousness? How is the consciousness is shifting? So I will give you certain moments of the consciousness. How is the consciousness moving? By a small analogy. So what we are doing? We are experiencing the reality in our own way. And what do we do with experience? We also express. We, in the sense, the mode of expression and the tool of expression is a human being. And the expression that is there of a consciousness. It's not mine, it's not ours. It is in a bits and in pieces of individuals through which the consciousness is expressing itself. And we choose to have a specific role of an expression. That we have taken a choice. As a soul, we have taken that choice. And we have that specific part. So, specific experience, specific expression, which leads to the expansion of the universe. So, it's an ever-expanding universe. Let us understand that from the analogy, not from a subjective perspective, from an objective reality. What is an objective reality? Do you remember a time? Some of you may be of those age, some of you are not. Some of you have passed through that phase or age. Do you remember when the telephones were in scarcity and we used to wait for years to get the telephone numbers? And then we could get more telephones. And then we started, the instrument of the telephones have shifted. From a normal instrument we moved into the codeless instruments. From codeless instrument we have moved to the pagers. Now do you know where the pagers are? Do you know, even remember the pager existed? Then came the mobile phones. Now within the span of 10-15 years, you have seen with your own eyes how the shift has happened to the mobile phones. Now this is what the movement of the consciousness is. The consciousness has made this possible. We humans have not. This is a phase of transition. The pager was a part, a link to that. Though pager is redundant now, but at that point it was an important link for the consciousness, moving towards the smart mobile phones that we have now. Go back to the humanity from this perspective. New age child who is taking the birth is already have the experiences that you have gathered, which is you have uploaded in the consciousness, that tap into that reality. They come with a new form, so they are already having certain consciousness. Do we need to teach any child how to operate mobile phone? Formerly, if you remember, that we used to get instrument with the manuals and we used to refer the manuals. Nowadays, do you see the manuals? No, because this is a moment of the consciousness. Our consciousness have reached to the point. Do you see how old people have started using the mobile phones? This is an upgradation of the consciousness. This is one of the part, one of the example of the consciousness. Why is the this is a very important time in the entire process of humanity, that the human evolution is happening. What is so important at this point of time? We'll have to go back to Einstein. What Einstein talks about the energy. Einstein said everything is the energy. He talked about the atom. Then there is particles, three components of the atoms that happened. Now out of the three components of the atoms that has happened, we thought that was the end of it. We cannot split the atom and we cannot go beyond the atom. So we learn about the atomic energies and we work with the atomic energies. But that was not enough. Scientists did not stop at that point of time. They went on experimenting and they found that there is something beyond the atom also. There is some energy called particles beyond the atoms. So they split at the atom and they found there is something called particles. Now when they found something called particles, they were surprised by the way in which the particles were operating. Particles were all over the places and particles were localized. So the particles has two characteristics. One is they have the waveform and they have the frequency. Depending on the observer, the particle would operate. There was a experiment carried out which is called the split experiment, very famous. This has given a lot of revelations. You have experienced some healing right now in front of you. How this healing was made possible? What is that the healing energies are and how these energies operate? This experiment would be appropriate for us to understand what is this energy, how this energy operates. What they did, they split the atom and they split the photon, and they kept the photon on the one side and they made a pathway for photon to go to the other side, and there was the attraction. So immediately the attraction was activated, the photon was released from here and passed through the passage and reached the other side. Now what scientists did is they created another pathway for the photon and they kept the photon, the same attraction was there. They wanted to see how the photon would react. Will they take the photon will take the original path that it has to go and reach, or will the photon choose the new path? Now something dramatic happens here. The photon started just before the two making a decision to two pathways. It split into two and passed through both the passages and reached. Now scientists were very perplexed. They were completely surprised by the outcome. They were wondering, how does the photon knows that there are two pathways made? They had no idea about it. No idea. When they experimented, when they questioned themselves, they found that by some process the photon must have known this. How would photon know this? By examining, they found out the person who was observing knows that there are two pathways. That knowledge went on there and the photon operated as per the observer's energy. Now this was a very vital revelation. This universe operates for you because the way you observe, not because it operates that way. So you are giving this universe a direction. If you shift your observations, the energy would shift according to your observation. That's an important revelation. There are many revelations to this process. The whole of the entire body is filled with photons. So you can imagine how our entire structure, our entire system Our entire thought process, our emotions, our body functions, it operates the way we observe ourselves. There was another, at the same time, the same incidents. Two photons were splitted and kept in a different part of the world, and there was some experiment done with the photon A. Before the experiment was done, the photon B was reacting. So the communication was known local. And this is the theory of the quantum physics. Quantum physics talks about it at a very great length on these subjects. We are not here to discuss about the quantum physics, but the consciousness. So they realize that something is happening. So from the particle, they have come to realization this photon is the entire universe is operating the way you observe, which can be very effectively explained by a small question that I can ask you. In a remote jungle when nobody is there, if the tree falls, will there be a sound of the tree? Yes or no? Somebody says yes. Because there is no one to listen, there is no sound. Understand this. This is there because we observe. The universe is there because we observe. In reality, this is all wave energy. This is all energy. This chair has a moving energy. The chair is there because we are observing it as a chair. And these energies are condensed. It has its movement. If you don't do anything with this energy, this energy has its own process, though it is slow. So each energy has different frequencies with which it operates. So now after the particle, what is there? They found that there is something else also, which they called it as a string theory. It's like a rubber band that we have. It's fluid and movement that is continuously moving behind the particles. You can imagine the minuteness of this energy. Now after the string theory, what is there? They also experimented splitting the atoms and found the Higgs boson and the golden particles. They did not stop at that point because something in this universe which was happening, which was bothering them, which was inexplicable to them. How did they found out? Astroscientists, astrophysicists, cosmologists, astronauts, NASA, everybody was working. In this process, there was one telescope that was designed by Hubble. Now, this telescope gave a deeper insight to the universe. Now, the data which came from the Hubble telescope and the experiments were carried out gave a totally different version of the universe that we had known before. So what was the version of the Einstein? Einstein always believed that the universe is static, but this universe is expanding. It is its movement. Now from this point they have sent the Hubble telescope to the satellite, through the satellite to the space, and they got more information, more data. Now when they process the data, they found something bizarre, something phenomenal, which they have not known this before, they have not understood it this before, and there is still the Nobel Prize pending if any scientist submits a paper on this subject and actually practically proves this energy. That energy is in highest form in the universe, and that energy is responsible for the movement and the accelerated movement of the universe. Now I stop it at this point and take you somewhere else in the journey as the human evolution is. What is the significance and the relevance of what is happening? Everything in the universe is happening is affecting us, for that matter. Our perception of what the universe is very limited. We know only up to the Milky Way, something beyond Milky Way. NASA has just found out few things about the 14 billion light years only. The total span of the universe is 500 billion light years. The universe is said to be 13.25 billion light years old. That's not too, the process wise it's not. So the evolution which is happening to this universe is the movement of the consciousness. And at this point of time, this consciousness is moving too fast. I give you how it is affecting you by just 2 points of observation, that you can connect to your reality, your own life, and find out how is it affecting this shift in the consciousness in you. I want you to, what is the date today?
11th of June.
11th of June 2016. I am talking right here in Andheri, in Mumbai, in Neeraj's place. This talk is going on. I want you to go back in your life precisely 10 years from now backward. 11th June 2006. Right? I want you to remember that day. Observe what is the difference between these 2 dates that you feel within. How is this some one important thing has shifted in you? You have not realized it. I want you to pay attention to yourself and understand it. What is that is happening now which was not happening 10 years before? Or what was that happening before 10 years? Or what is happening now which was not happening before 10 years? Can you anyone share? You have any idea? No. I want you to go back in 2006 now. I give you a specification for your observation. What is the difference in the timing? How many work that you could carry out in 2006, and how is the time is changing in 2016? With respect to the time, do you feel any change? Do you feel that time is flying? In a day, whatever you have planned, your day is shortened. The availability of the time is not there as much as it was available 2006. Suddenly, you have more work to do, but the time is not available to you as it was available in. Now there is a reference point. In 2006, the time availability of time and now. So somewhere the time is accelerating. Why is the time accelerating? Time and space is related. And this universe is moving too fast at this speed. So this is the one area our life is affected. I give you second example as how is it affecting your life. Is anyone in your family recently expired? Nearby, somewhere. Whenever recent means the last experience that you have. Did you have certain experience? Did somebody near to you have expired? Are we not moving from that sadness, the mourning very fast, even the families? Our acceptance of the death has shifted completely without a much realization that we are having. So these are the 2 symptoms. I call this if the movement of the consciousness is very fast. Why have you come for the healing here? Now I'm giving you third point. Because you are experiencing some shift in your body and your body has not been able to cope up. You are stuck, you are experiencing disease. You may give reasons to your disease in different ways. But in reality, what is happening? Let us understand this. This earth is emitting certain frequency, which was called Schumann's resonance. And that was 7.34 megahertz, which was measured. Based on this, scientists developed a navigation instrument which failed completely in 1982. They're wondering what has happened to this. On measurement, they found the Schumann's resonance has changed. Until 2002, the Schumann's resonance went up to 21 megahertz. Now our heart and body frequency is trying to match. If it doesn't match, the bodies have to go and new bodies will come. So what is the effect of this new consciousness which will happen through the humanity? You are experiencing tremendous shift in the environment. That's the first thing. Scientists do not know there are 7 phenomena which is occurring in this universe. They are not revealing to the humanity and to us what are those 7 incidences and how it is going to affect us. One of the things which I can share with you, one moment is there is a change in the electromagnetic force on the north and the south pole. There is no change notice, otherwise there was a change. So diminishing of the electromagnetic force resulting into the change of the gravitational activity in these 2 areas, and scientists understand it by the calculation and mathematical measures that they have devised, that at one point of time this energy is going to shift from the north pole to the south pole and the south pole to the north pole. The axis of this world is going to shift. It is going to affect all of us in a big way. I'll give you one small example. There was something, if you understand it, there are some brands which you are seeing in Mumbai. You were seeing the black and white, black and yellow taxis. Now you see the fate of that taxis. Immediately some other 2 taxis came, private taxis. Immediately there is a shift, now you find. So this is called upgradation of the consciousness. In various fields, in various areas, consciousness is upgrading very fast. Some brands have just disappeared. Did you recollect which was the best selling brand on the mobile phone? And that company has to go in losses. How the businesses is closing quickly because the consciousness is shifting very fast. To understand this consciousness, to be in pace with this consciousness, we need to understand what the energy on which it is working and how the movement is happening at a greater speed than we envisaged. Scientists call this movement and this energies, which is in the whole frame of expansions. They did not know much about this energy just 10 years before, 10-15 years. They found about this energy 10-15 years ago. To our surprise, this energy constitutes 73% of the universe. What is the balance energy? 23% is dark, the matter of that energy. The balance is 4%. What is that 4% is? Light and the gases. So the constitution of this universe is this. They call dark energy, dark matter, and lights and gases. This is the constitution. What is the role of dark energy? Dark, the word is being used by them because they don't know much about this energy. And what this matter does? This matter holds the galaxies. This matter is transparent. This matter does not collide with each other. This matter can pass through your hands. You cannot hold it. This is the properties of this matter, but they have not been scientifically prove it in laboratory about this energy and the matter. And there is a continuous flow, continuously this energy is being created all the time. And this energy contains everything, every information, the entire movement. If you want to connect to all, you connect to this energy, your connection is established. My study with so many scientists, information, knowledge, their talks, their insights into these two energy. Now from where did I got an inspiration to talk about this energy? I have accidentally met some person 7 years ago. Now this person was a very ordinary person, doing service, operating as an executive. He in a channel information wrote about a few 100,000 pages and has taught me certain processes of meditation. When then I was doing the meditation, I was not aware about it. But as I worked on this energy and the meditation, I realized that I would stumble upon this energy. Recently, I had an interaction with world-renowned quantum physicist, Nobel Prize winner, and I had 4 days. I was in his seminar and I had various interactions, and whatever work that this I'm experiencing, I say this is nothing related. This is the new spirituality. This is the new way it operates. Now, eventually, what is going to happen with this energy, that I'm going to explain it to you. But in this interaction, he has shown keen interest in my experiences with this energy and how I'm working and operating with this energy. I'm also learning. There are so many things which are occurring through this energy. Which are very speedy, very fast, and keeping in the space. So if we wish to keep a space with this movement of the consciousness, and if we want to get into a running train, we need to run. Likewise, what is going to happen to the new humanity that is evolving? Why did in 2012 the Mayan calendar stop saying what is going to happen? Because what may happen, they could not envisage, because this movement has started already occurring, and how we respond to this reality is going to shape the humanity in a larger context. I had an interaction with world-renowned channelist. His name is Rachan. So when we were discussing about the movements of the energy in that field, he said there were 2 incidences where the nuclear war was possible, but we unconsciously work towards the energy of peace, and that is how we could avoid such kind of a conflict. For example, right now you will ask me, how do I currently use this information for shifting the reality of the consciousness for the water shortage that we are facing? It's a simple, workable. I don't want to talk theoretical. I'm more concerned about the applications, and the form of applications could be many, and I'm experimenting with those forms all the time. I don't know, I just picked up this topic. I was reading something in my healing group. Somebody put a request that let us pray for the rain. Remember, we are going to feel crunch in the 2 areas, water and air, pure air. This will be pure water, pure air. That will be our biggest concern for the humanity, for the next generation. Because we have, how could we not generate that much of water that we require? Because everything is in the nature of the universe is abundance. We conduct workshop, we talk about how you get into abundance. There is no need, because the quality of this universe itself is abundance. You tap into that quality of yourself. Everything is in abundance. So why is that shortages coming? We have stopped recognizing, we have stopped expressing our gratitude. The only way we can increase the water supply is being gratitude of what we get from this nature. And we have to learn to be in gratitude all the time about, we have assumed. Why is that now we are paying for the water? Could you imagine this 15 years ago? No. We would be paying more and more if we still not be in a form of gratitude. This is an effectiveness. To increase the water supply, a group of people can join and just be in gratitude of what is available through the universe, and universe will provide you ample in abundance. So now when we talk about this energy, what is possible? My experience and my experiment says that various things is possible. So I stumble upon the new humanity that is going to come, and reference was made available to me through the consciousness informed me. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. So the reference came through Bhagavad Gita. Somebody sent me one day a mailer stating there are 65 powers that human being can evoke within themselves, which they have forgotten about. So these 65 powers are going to be made available, and the similar information was made available to me. Just a series of things which came to me.